pronouncing your last name.
Yeah.
Josh Calibao.
Culibao.
I almost said it right. I'm from the Combat Hour, and I'm really glad to have you today. So I just got a few questions for you. First of all, the main thing is, what got you into MMA?
It was martial arts was always a big part of my family.
Okay.
My brothers started Taekwondo at a young age, and I followed them doing Taekwondo as well. And then I started to watch, non-traditional martial arts such as like K1 kickboxing.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of got me hooked onto doing actual other types of martial arts. And then it just progressed to jiu-jitsu. And then after finding jiu-jitsu, it just progressed into MMA. But majority of doing MMA was to lose weight and to gain self-confidence as I was a really obese kid growing up. Okay. So it was just to lose the weight and to gain self-confidence.
Okay, wow, and it definitely got you into the UFC. So that's amazing. What was it like to sign with the UFC? Like, that must have been a huge feeling to you. So
man, it is. From the first time I started watching martial arts, being in the UFC was like obviously like the pinnacle of the sport. Is the biggest.
It was that and Pride.
That and Pride, So I used to watch that stuff, especially Pride in Japan. The stadiums would be filled with thousands and thousands of people. But the UFC was exactly the same thing. I watched that, and I was like, growing up, I was like, I always wanted to be there. Even though I never knew that I would take MMA as a career or like do it competitively. I just said, and that would be so cool to do that. And I used to just, as a kid, you just picture doing, fighting in front of thousands of people. So, it was, it's a lifelong dream that I achieved. It's something that I never thought I could do, but it was also a thing that I don't know. It was weird. I know that I could do it, but it was something that I didn't think I would actually achieve.
Yeah, it's amazing. A big question for you is, I see that you're rocking the Reebok sweater right now.
Yeah.
How does that affect a fighter? Like, I was always curious of how like the sponsorship works. Like, do you think that affects you more, or do you like the whole Reebok deal?
Well, see, as I'm one of those fighters that doesn't really reach out to others to get sponsorships. I'm very, low key, do my own thing, and I don't reach out to try to get sponsorships. I've always, throughout my amateur career and throughout my whole pro career, I never had real sponsors paying for this, paying for that. I usually just worked and then did my own work to get my own money, and then did my training as well on top of that. So, for me,
it works out well. Yeah, I seen your post on Instagram where you got your name on the back and you were super happy about that. So that must have been amazing to get your own fight kit, right?
That's it.
Before the coronavirus happened, did you have a fight signed, or was there something you were in contract for?
It was actually the last fight. I tore my MCL in the fight. So, I was skipping around the cage. Jalen was like sort of cutting the cage off, and my heel got caught in the cage, and it twisted my ankle. Everyone thought it was my ankle that twisted. Yes, my ankle twisted, but it was my knee that blew out. And you could see immediately that I was in pain as soon as it happened.
Yeah.
I had no fight lined up, but I was in like middle of rehab when they started to lock down everything. So I think for me, it's a bit of a blessing in disguise that I get to actually fully heal my knee and get a proper camp, because I was,
you were short notice.
I was planning to fight in Perth in June. So, and I just finished my rehab now. So, and plus it's just, how can I train now with no training partners due to all the social distancing and the gyms being closed and that? So it's tough.
Did you, I always wanted to know the feeling. I seen you knock Josh Payne out, and that was one of the most brutal knockouts I've ever seen. I was like, oh, what just happened? What does it feel like to get knocked out? Not to get knocked out, sorry, to knock someone out like that. Is it the best feeling in the world, or do you kind of feel bad, but your adrenaline's got to feel...
Look, it's one of those things where, I actually spoke to Jalen about it after we fought each other. We went out and had a few drinks.
Okay.
He just said to me, he goes, we're just nice guys doing a mean sport. And I could relate to that. I go like, yeah, we are nice guys, and we're only doing this to each other because it's the competitive nature of the sport. It is what it is. It's like saying going swimming without getting wet. You're bound to get hit. You're bound to get hurt. You're meant to hurt the other person. You know what I mean? So, to knock someone out, it
undescribable, right?
It doesn't feel like, to be honest, it doesn't feel like you're hitting anything when you find a sweet punch or you find a sweet kick. It doesn't feel like it was hard or it was like you put something behind. It just felt like it just happened, and then you just see the guy's legs go out, and that was it. And I kind of do feel bad for knocking someone out, but again, it's just a part of the sport.
Of the job.
You signed up to do this. You knew what was involved, so.
You have that knockout power, though, where you actually knock them out in their flat cold. Do you think?
Yeah. Some
people say you're born with that power and you can't train it. Do you believe that it's something you have to be born with?
Yeah, I think it is that. I think it's I always have a chat with my friends. Like we always talk about like guys that have that power. Like for instance, Rumble Johnson. Like literally, he could
destroy
people.
He
could just he doesn't even mean to punch hard. Doesn't even look like he's trying to punch hard, and then he just touches somebody's chin, and then all of a sudden they're laying flat on the ground.
Or Conor McGregor's left hand.
Exactly. So I feel like it's I don't know if it's a genetic or if it can't be a technical thing, because all these fighters, they've been training their whole lives and they still can't land, this sort of knockout punch. I can't put my finger on it. If you're given with it, I don't know. Yeah. I honestly don't know.
Are you still going to be so you say you were doing a lot of BJJ. Are you going to be looking for that submission in the future on your career?
Yeah, for sure. Look, it's MMA. That's why if I wanted to just knock people out, I would do kickboxing, or I would do boxing, or even MMA, boxing with bare knuckle boxing, or
that's brutal, eh?
Yeah, that is this. Yeah, I would never do that though.
But Shannon Briggs just signed with them.
Who? Sorry.
Shannon Briggs, the boxer.
Oh yeah.
He just signed with BF.
Who is he fighting?
They don't know if he's fighting yet.
Man, imagine that guy hitting you with no glove on. Jesus.
Oh boy. I hope he fights Iranian Hulk.
Oh yeah.
He signed with them too, so I would like to see that.
I would want to see the Artem Lobov versus Knight again. That'd be
the first fight was unreal.
Yeah,
it was a classic.
We need to see that one again.
Yeah. Do you prefer lightweight, or you fought at lightweight and featherweight, right? And because you took a short notice fight, you were at lightweight, or are you going to go back to featherweight?
Yeah, 100%. Featherweight is where I do my best performances. Lightweight is it was short notice. It was like I had 2 weeks notice, and if I had 2 weeks notice to get to featherweight, I probably wouldn't make featherweight. So it was short notice, and I just made lightweight. So.
Mm-hmm. There was and when you were growing up, you said that you watched all these mixed martial arts promotions. Was there someone that you looked up to? Like I looked up to, I'm not a fan now, it's weird, but I was a huge fan of Wanderlei Silva. Yep. Just because I think he should retire. I don't like seeing him get hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Someone you looked up to?
Wanderlei was actually one of them. Like he was one of those guys that was like, he was the most violent guy.
Who's a kill or be killed guy.
He's the most violent guy in the most violent sport, and like the things that he did to like all these high level guys, like Rampage,
And he fought Mark Hunt at a heavyweight.
Didn't he do Rampage twice in Pride? He did him twice with knees.
Yeah, he knocked him through the ring.
Yeah, him and Shogun, like all those guys. But what first got me into it was Masato from the K1 kickboxing days. I don't know if you know him. He's like one of Japan's biggest K1 superstars. Well, back in the day in the K1 glory days. So yeah, that was probably one of my biggest. And then obviously the WEC Dominick Cruz and WEC Jose Aldo. Those two guys were like watching them. And then when they got into the UFC and what they did for the years to come was amazing, especially what Cruz did, change the whole game of like how footwork is looked at. Like everyone thought Cruz was like, look at this idiot with this, looks like he's just dancing, but like
awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward, but
but
that's
he's so
his
good
style. Exactly. He's like, how do you train for someone like that?
Yeah.
You know.
He's one of the greatest to ever do it, and these people I feel like don't ever put Dominick Cruz in that top 10 list, and I always put him there. Like he's one of the best to ever do it.
What are your thoughts on Cejudo? Him and Cejudo?
I was just going to ask you that, actually. I was going to say, could I get your prediction for the two main event? I think that Cejudo's over his head in this fight. I think the size difference and the movement, he won't be able to. I honestly don't think he could out-wrestle Cruz just because of the size.
But, I mean, he was a massive flyweight. Like, he was a big flyweight. He struggled. He missed a few times making flyweight, Cejudo.
Yeah.
But, like, look what he did to Marlon. That really surprised me, like, how he was able to overcome.
He doesn't have a chin. His chin's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was able to overcome Marlon, put a beating on him for, the first 2 rounds.
He does have a champ's heart. He's also coming off a big injury, right?
Yeah. His shoulder or something. They're both coming off shoulder injuries, aren't they? But also with Cruz, you look at he's sort of like, again, when's the last time he fought? Garbrandt. That was 2017, 16.
But then you can look at it like he also came back one time after 3 years to beat TJ Dillashaw.
That's right.
It's like, it depends what Cruz we get, right?
He says, like, in one of the interviews I remember watching, he goes, "Oh, don't believe in ring rust. Ring rust is for people that don't train hard enough," or some shit like that. I go, I don't know. Well, he's probably one of the most inspiring guys going through all these injuries and still becoming at the highest level of the sport, you know? So, yeah.
Give you a final prediction then.
On Cruz and Cejudo?
Yeah.
I reckon Cruz takes it decision.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be a close fight, though. I think maybe split decision.
I got a 48-47 split for Cruz. Yeah. So, I have to give a shout out before I get to the main event prediction to MMA ENIAC. He's a big fan of yours, and he has a question for you.
Yeah.
He asked from 1 to 10, how good of a person is Dana White?
Well, I had a video meeting with him, and he seems pretty chill. I think he's in front of the other media. He sort of seems very amped up. Yeah. But I feel like he's quite chill when he's not in front of all the media, when he's just in front of the fighters and that. So I think he's a pretty good guy. But I haven't met him personally, like face to face. But we had a web meeting, and he seems pretty chill. One day.
For the main event, it is going to be Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. I got Gaethje by second round knockout.
I think so too. I honestly think so too. I think it's a love triangle with them three. I think Khabib beats everybody in that division. I think Tony beats Conor. Conor beats Gaethje, and Gaethje beats Ferguson. So I don't know. I feel like Gaethje takes this one.
Styles make fights.
Yeah.
See, I just think that Tony is a little bit too hittable, and when someone has so much power and hits him, he's gonna put him to sleep.
Yeah, he is.
Which I think Conor would beat him too, because I'm too accurate.
I think it's just he gets hit way too much, but he's just like he leaves too many holes technically. Like I was watching an interview with Dustin Poirier, and Dustin Poirier is like, man, if he could crack somebody like Justin hits him, like he goes, he's gonna knock out Tony, because Tony's he's just a wild man. He's just a wild guy. Like he'd get rocked, and then he'd just do a forward roll. It's like,
you don't want to fight him after the third round. Like when he fought RDA, he was getting his butt whooped, and then it's like this guy doesn't stop. So his cardio is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Like he does it to everybody. He literally comes forward, puts the pressure on, and he gets hit, but he's like, I'm still gonna come forward and try to cut you up with elbows, and if you give me your neck, I'm gonna dance you. So he's a crazy guy. It's gonna be an awesome fight. I can't wait to watch.
I can't wait to watch the UFC. We got 3 cards. My last question for you is, if Dana White comes to ring in and says, we need you on one of these 3 cards, are you taking that fight?
No way.
No?
No way in the world. Nah, no way. The way that I've been eating.
Oh, you be fighting at welterweight?
I'm going to be fighting welterweight. And I'm a featherweight. How am I meant to be fighting welterweight?
Oh, my God.
Nah, but for sure, if this lockdown still goes on, and they say to me, hey, Josh, we want you, to fight on this Fight Island. Yeah, for sure. But give me some notice and let me get some training in, and for sure I'll be keen. It'd be a cool experience, I reckon, this whole Fight Island thing. So
how do you think a fighter would fare in an empty arena? I feel like they'd fight up to their potential because the nerves wouldn't be as there.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be I think it'd be like a very hard training session. I feel like there's no one to watch and to give you that extra motivation, that extra push. Like, I know a lot of guys in my gym personally that, they're great in the gym,
Yeah.
They beat everyone up when they're in the gym and just going through the motions. But then when they go out on fight night, they're completely different because the way the way they're reacting to the people there and the crowd, the lights, everything just throws them off. So I know it can work both ways, I guess. And then there's obviously those fighters that do better with a crowd because it gives them like a chance to entertain people,
Yeah. Is there anyone I could get you'd want to shout out? I know you do some gaming out there. I don't know if you want to give out your gamer tag.
Nah, I don't usually give out my gamer tag. But shout out to Humble Fit, who's a close friend of mine who has a clothing brand, Nick. He's a very cool guy. He supported me from day one. And now that I'm here, it's sort of like, I appreciate him supporting me this whole way through. So he's a really nice guy. Shout out to Nick from Humble Fit. Thank you.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time today, and I can't wait to see you fight and get that knockout again.
Yeah, all good.